Hello and happy spring equinox. So I am recording this video for you from the Garden Spa and Himalayan Salt Room. I get to use this space, this beautiful space, to talk to you today about the spring equinox or equinox, whichever you prefer to say. Hello, I am Mary. And so let's talk about the spring equinox, what it is, and how you can use the energies of the spring equinox to bring about positive change. So if you are familiar with the equinox, great. If you've never heard of it before and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to go into detail starting right now. So if you want to think of the year, like maybe a circle, okay? And if you want to think of 4 points in the circle, kind of like a clock. You have like 12 and 3 and 6 and 9. So way back at the mid-winter solstice, that was the longest night of the year, the shortest day of the year. And ever since that day, we've been getting 2 minutes of light every day, essentially. And now here we are. Now we're at the midway point. So equinox, meaning equa as in equal, nox as in night. So it's equal night and day. So you have one day in the spring and one day in the fall where it's 50-50. So you can think of this as 50% day, 50% night. If you want to break it up into masculine, feminine, 50% feminine, 50%, if I can say it, masculine. So, and now we're going to continue every day, getting about 2 more minutes of light every day. Days are going to get longer, days are going to get warmer. Where I'm at the 45th parallel, it was spring last week, and today it's winter again. We'll get there. Maybe where you live, it's been spring for a while. And then we're getting, as we get closer and closer to the mid-summer solstice, that'll be the longest day and the shortest night. But tonight, really late tonight, the equinox kicked in. So tomorrow when this video comes out, it will be really like the first day, if you will. So equal day, equal night. So this is a time of balance. And you have these little inclinations of spring coming forth, the sun getting brighter, coming into its power. We're breaking the bonds of winter. Doesn't feel like it where I'm at, but we're getting there. Winter is in the past. That's where we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it behind us. And this is a time to say things are no longer linear. As light and dark are equal, this is a great time to also bring the elements that are within us into equal balance as well. So this is a time of joy. Aries season is a time to charge forth with initiative because spring has come. So let's talk about, before we get into the elements, the more traditional masculine and feminine aspects of the spring equinox, and we hold these within each of us, no matter what gender you happen to be. Everybody has masculine and feminine in them. So for the more masculine, those attributes would be bringing light, bringing joy, returning from the shadows, being poised to charge forth with your brilliance. Or feminine would be bringing your love, your knowledge, your understanding. This is a time that the land is just beginning to show what is promised, because this is going to be the blooming of Mother Earth. So we've got 4 elements that I'm going to speak about. And this is going to be from the European tradition. If you work with different set of elements, that's okay too. Work with what is in your cosmology, that's okay. So we're going to move forward with the light of spring. This is a new cycle of activity, of thoughts, of feelings, but we also are going to feel that baggage, the stuff from the past that's holding us back. And this can even threaten what we're trying to create as it's the time of things starting to pop out of the earth and bloom. We don't want anything to hold those back, and we certainly don't want anything to hold us back. So this is the time that we must take action. We stand at a point of equilibrium, but if we don't spring forward, we're going to slip back, right? So within our own selves, in our own mind, what we're going to do is we are going to we're going to come up with some detailed explanations, maybe even come up with some excuses as to why we haven't gone forward yet. So let's reduce these to those 4 elements. And what you're going to want to do is have a pen and whatever, if you want to use scrap paper, notebook, if you still have index cards left over from the last video, what's great is anything with lines, it'll help keep you on track. And so either 4 sheets of paper or 4 cards, 1 for each of the 4 elements. And let's talk about each one of those in a little bit of detail in case you're not already familiar with them. So air. And if you can, make this list, if you can, outside, but if not, maybe poise yourself next to a window so you can at least get that feeling of being out in the breeze. So for each element within us, there's positives and okay. So a negative could feel like maybe your thoughts are just scattered, they're all over the place. Maybe you need to make a decision, but you just can't make up your mind. Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, maybe you're just too dogmatic and you're like, well, this is the way it's going to be, right? So grab your pen, grab your sheet of paper or your cards, ask yourself, how is my mind holding me back? And then just let it go. Throw on some music. And if you need to close yourself off for a little bit and give yourself some quiet time, just let it all out. Don't even think about it. Yes, you're asking yourself, how is my mind holding me back? But don't let your mind get in the way. When you're done with that one, move on to fire. Okay. Fire, the negative aspects of fire can be that you're just wildly acting on impulse, or you are too willful, or your will is unfocused. You're just feeling out of sorts. So on the next sheet of paper or next index card, ask yourself, how are my concerns holding me back, right? And again, if you can, set yourself, maybe if it's a sunny day, that sun energy, that fire coming down to help inspire you. Or if it's chilly, maybe if you have a wood stove fireplace, maybe you can have a fire going. If you can't, light a candle and then just let that fire energy flow. Next, move on to water. Water, the negative aspect of water can be you're just feeling too sensitive, or you're just holding on to your feelings, okay? Or you're just feeling really confused. So on the next sheet of paper, the next card, ask yourself, how are my emotions holding me back? You're not always going to be able to sit by a body of water, but maybe what you can do is do this exercise on a rainy day, or possibly if that doesn't work for you, maybe it's something you can do while you're soaking in the tub. Get creative, find a way to bring water in if you can, but don't dilly-dally. Make sure that you aren't using an excuse to not do this exercise. So if you have to, you can always just take a drink of water and start writing. Okay, last one, earth. So the negative aspects of earth could be you're feeling stuck in the mud. Who hasn't heard that expression? You're a stick in the mud, right? You might feel that nothing is ever good enough. Or you might just be really, really grim. And so on this last card or sheet of paper, ask yourself, how is necessity holding you back? And once you have your 4 cards, you might have, or 4 sheets of paper, you might have so much on one, not very much on the other, and that's okay too, okay? What I want you to do is now flip the switch and think about how you can take action so you can act in accord to make these positive changes to change from one dynamic to the other. So if you were to like flip a coin from tails to heads, okay? So now let's talk about air. So on the back side of your sheet of paper, on the back side of your card, write out how air in its positive aspect, how can you let the fresh breeze blow through you? How can you bring forth communication? How can you be more clear? How can you bring more harmony, freedom of thought? So write those things out, okay? Go to the next card for fire. Ask yourself and then write down on the other side, how can you let your passion flow through? How can you bring more energy? How can you take initiative? How can you bring vitality and enthusiasm to your everyday life? And then write all that out, okay? Grab the next one, water. On the opposite side, you're gonna write all the positive aspects that you can do. So how can you let your intuition permeate into your regular everyday life? How can you bring a deeper well of understanding? How can you bring good feelings? How can you cleanse? How can you heal? How can you be more mystical and bring in insight? One more card or sheet of paper, earth. Take the opposite side, write on the back, all the positive things that you can bring into your life with the element of earth. Ask yourself, how can I bring in more compassion? How can I increase my bounty? How can I nurture myself or others? How can I lend my strength to others? What about healing? What about being stable? So now you've got 4 sheets of paper, 4 cards, and you've got a lot, right? I don't want you to be overwhelmed. Go back to that air card, pick one thing. Don't overthink it, just pick one thing that you can do right away. Even if that means it's a teeny weeny, easy peasy thing, pick one thing. Do the same thing for the other 3 cards. Pick one for fire, pick one for water, pick one for earth. And now you have 4 things that you're really going to focus on. Those are your top 4 things that you're going to try to work on throughout the next coming days, coming weeks, coming months, to fulfill the rest of your year. And I would love to hear from you as to how you did. What are your roadblocks, and what are the actions that you're going to take? It'll be exciting to hear how how your how your journey is going and where it's headed. So until next time, I hope to run into you here at the Garden Spa. But until next time, I wish you a happy and blessed spring equinox, and happy planning and planting.